Dude, doesn't that rip?
You're an idiot.
No, you're an idiot.
Welcome back, free thinkers. Glad to have you on the podcast here. This is the You're an Idiot pod.
That was one of the worst intros yet. Free thinkers.
Does he always say that?
He comes up with a new thing every week, and this week it was free thinkers.
Well, I really want this podcast to start to embrace that we are one of the pillars of the pod is we want free thought, we want liberty.
But thought comes so hard to you.
No,
it just doesn't come easily to you to have thoughts. So
No.
it's like, I don't know if they're the one to say that or not.
Essentially, I want us to be a little more right wing than we are right now.
Oh, okay. Can you decide if you're going to put the headphones on or not? Because it looks ridiculous.
I actually think it looks kind of cool.
That looks cool, but what I'm wearing is dumb.
Oh, stand
precisely.
up.
He's a Division I athlete. You're an asshole.
Show
I'm
the
gonna
Tron
stand up
members.
for the Patreon and everyone's
Children
show
avert
the
your eyes.
shoes
I'm wearing
too.
these shoes.
Look at the sweatpants. Okay, so also,
Yuck.
Jeff, you got a little spot on by your dick over there. Is that
Yeah,
a wet?
there's a little urine leakage. It's a problem I have. I like to wear black pants
I got a
because
solution
leak
for
a
that.
lot.
You're
yeah,
a leaker?
actually,
I
let's
Googled the
introduce-
solution.
Let's introduce our guest
Oh,
first.
yeah.
For we, Bobby Condon,
One of the
everyone.
funniest people
a
known to
Chicago
man.
legend, one of our favorite people in the world.
Yes.
We love him. Glad to have him on the
Dear
Glad to be
friend.
here, boys.
Glad to-
Fucking finally.
I know. Can't believe. I know. Sorry, man.
Boy.
We tried to
Talk
do
about
it.
a legend. One of your favorite comedians. What number guest am I?
61.
61.
You're probably our
Well,
12th
we've
Who
only-
was on last?
We had Maddie Smith last week. Or no, John Marco last week, and then Maddie Smith the week before.
Okay.
We haven't had
Maddie
61
Ryan,
guests,
Maddie
though.
Smith.
We
No,
probably
we
only
probably
had like
15.
20 guests, probably.
15, 20.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you're not.
A lot of times it's
Ish.
just you guys talking.
Yeah, it's a lot of
Okay.
us. Yeah.
Yeah.
We tried to have
No
you.
wonder you brought in guests.
Here we go.
By the way, what's with the fucking dumbbells on the table? Is that yours?
No, I think it's so you don't pound. If you pound on the table, it doesn't make as much noise. It doesn't
Oh,
fuck up
okay.
the noise as
Well,
much.
all
Yeah.
right.
Podcasters are angry people.
A lot of people pound. Yeah, well, wait, what were you
Podcasts are often sexually frustrated, so they have to take out their.
Not me.
Not Jeff.
Not me.
Are you squirting?
I'm emptying once a week into my Bobby night.
And that's how it
baby.
goes after 2 years in a relationship. You guys have that scheduled once a week.
It's about
sex.
once a week, every 6 to 8 days.
What's the Bobby
I
Knight
call her. We don't
significance?
say her real name. We call her Bobby Knight.
Oh, that's my
She's
my
from
mom's
Indiana.
favorite basketball coach.
Oh
Bobby
yeah,
Knight. Big Bobby Knight
Is
fan.
he the best, Drago? You know coaches.
The guy
Who's
was
the best
intense,
college basketball coach?
disciplinarian. I honestly think an underrated choice for a best college coach, maybe ever, probably not ever. Last 20 years is definitely Jay Wright. I think it's Jay
Oh, is that
Wright.
Villanova? Oh yeah.
I think
yeah.
how much he got out of his players and how consistently they won. But probably if not Jay Wright, Bill Self.
Izzo?
Bill
Not
Self.
Izzo?
Bill Self,
Bill
is
Self,
fucking
former U
great.
of I.
Yeah.
He left U of I the year after I started there.
Dog.
Oh.
Kansas has won the Big 12 the last like 15 years.
Who's their
The big fucking
But it's
next,
not
12.
as good as the Big Ten.
who's
though.
Yeah,
their
it is.
next biggest
Really?
It is.
contender under Kansas?
After
In the Big 12.
Oklahoma's
yeah, I
pretty
mean,
good.
like Texas, Oklahoma State, you know.
Yeah.
KSU is pretty good.
Baylor won it a couple years ago, and Kansas still wins the Big 12.
Okay.
Is this the kind of shit you guys fucking talk about?
No,
here?
we actually rarely talk about basketball.
Quit it.
Yeah.
Enough of that bullshit. I asked one thing about Bobby Knight, and then he's like talking about the strength of the Big 12.
This was his life
Stop.
for 22
Yeah,
years.
and that life is over.
It's over, baby.
Yeah.
Jeff reminds me that often.
Oh, one day you'll come back, maybe.
Remember that time at Laugh Factory when I introduced you, and I said,
You introduced him on stage.
I introduced him on stage. I was hosting that day, and someone wrote in his name in pencil on the lineup. He was a late ad, and I went up and I was rolling. Okay,
You were drunk?
and and I was doing good.
Yeah.
but I was drunk, and I said, you know, the next guy was a Division I basketball failure, you know, and that his name was actually written on the lineup in fucking pencil. How pathetic is that? Here he comes, you know, to, you know, I don't know, enact his sorrow or something like that. And he came up, and I got a big laugh line bringing him up. Alex comes up and crushes. Right?
Oh, you hate to hear it.
And then comes up, like, I go up to, I can tell he's got a sour puss on his fucking face. And I walk over and I'm like, he's pouting. And
Jeff calls me
He
out for
loves
pouting.
to
all
you're
the
a
pout.
pouter. You're an athlete. That's what you people
One
do.
of the biggest powders I've ever
But
met.
I go up to him and I'm like, what are you mad that I did that? He's like, just, well, that was kind of fucked up. I'm like, you crushed. And he's like, yeah, but it's just, that makes me feel, I don't know what the fuck pussy ass shit you said.
But that was the thing too. So
I was so mad at you.
it was around Christmas time too.
Around Christmas.
So no, but the thing was, we were, I think like I don't know, a lot of us like didn't really, or like work was kind of lax around that time. So we stayed out like kind of late, and the more we drank, I would bring it up every like hour or something. I'd be like, man,
Most people would
why'd
be.
you bring that up?
Most people would be honored to have that.
We went to the
be brought up.
We went to the
was
L and L
hoping,
after that and just drank. It was awesome. It was honestly a great night. But yeah, I pout.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you let a little itch get under your skin, and it's all you think about.
Petulant.
It's petulant.
But you've gotten a lot better at it, though.
thank
I
you.
don't know.
I don't notice it as much.
Well, you're not on the. I'm on the road with
But I
you
also haven't
enough.
introduced them that often.
I would love. Oh God, you're such a thin-skinned little whore. I
Yeah,
love
sometimes
it.
Jeff and I, he just goes, you got to stop pouting, and it's true. It's true. I got to.
It's good.
Well, that's a good lesson to learn. I mean, I am one of those rare people that can dish it out but cannot take it. I'm one of those.
Really,
rare
I
ones
see you
too.
take it a lot.
No.
Really?
I got thin skin too. I get pissed off.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I just don't pout like a little, bitch.
Yeah.
But I get pissed off.
Let me ask this: as a Chicago drinker, which you
Bobby, Chicago native?
you're a veteran Chicago drinker. Bar fights, you
Never,
into it?
ever. I've never thrown a punch in anger.
Okay.
Never
You've
in my
thrown it
time.
in jest, though?
Oh, sure.
What does
a
that
couple
mean?
fun Charlie horses.
Oh, okay,
Not
okay.
really a funny story about it. But I've gotten punched in the face a number of times.
But you don't punch
In
back.
anger. I shake.
They were
Really?
They were in.
Yep. When I get scared or angry, either way, sometimes it's both. I physically shake.
Really?
completely
Like
useless.
they're about to
Dude,
attack you,
dude,
you're just shaking,
dude, Tell
vibrating?
the story. Oh my god, I forgot this. Remember when the guy just sunned you at that one show?
Sun you?
Wait, what does sun mean first?
Yeah, what does that mean?
He just kind of like bullied you.
Oh,
at
yeah,
that
okay.
I mean,
I know
sunned?
Never
I've
heard
never
that.
heard
That's
that.
just some athlete
he
bullshit.
treated you like a son. Like he kind of
Oh,
like
he sunned
S-O-N-N-D.
you?
Oh.
he kind of
Okay.
belittled you. Dude,
Okay.
what did he? This was.
I will tell you. So we're at that. It was at some open mic in Chicago where you pour your own beer. I can't remember the name
Oh,
of the
Tapsters.
Tapsters.
Oh, yeah, that was a weird place.
So it was
Yeah.
a terrible open mic, but there was like 3 guys there that were not performing. They were hammered drunk, and they were yapping the whole
Older
time.
guys?
Everyone's younger than me. And I was visiting from Chicago or from New York at that time, so I had moved, and I'm there with Nate Burrows and maybe John Marjalewski or Matthias. I'm not sure, but I was like, I kind of felt, oh God, this blew up in my face so bad. Like I felt like a bit of elder statesmanship. I'm like, all right, I'm the veteran, I'm the pro. I got to go intervene and shut these guys the fuck up. And so I went up to the biggest one.
When you're not on stage.
I was not on stage. Someone else was on stage. I walked over to him. I'm like, hey man, listen, people are up here trying to do their thing. Come on, like don't talk through their entire set. Come on, like have a little respect. And he did this. He's probably your height. He
was
did
a
this.
big
He
dude.
did this over my head. He said, "Fairy dust, bro. Get the fuck out of my face." And you know what I did? I complied without a fucking word.
Bobby, you did this. You go.
Wait, were you there? Did you see it?
Bobby, I saw
Oh,
it.
God.
I
He
was
sprinkled fairy dust?
I was
Oh, my
10 feet
God.
away. I saw you, bro. I just go.
There was nothing. He won.
Yeah.
And I went
Oh.
up. I started walking back, and Nate Burrows. Nate's kind of a big guy, not as big as them, but like he's like, what's going on over there? And I'm like, dude, they just want to fight. Let's just. Believe me, I made it out by the skin of my fucking teeth. just
Dude.
there.
Did you go on stage after that?
No, thankfully I went on stage before. And they
Oh,
left.
thank
Fairy dust, bro. Get
Get the fuck out of my face, right over my head. You ever been emasculated? My
Kinda
God.
cool.
It was
Kinda
an amazing move. Like,
he sunned you.
yes, he did. Son.
I've never
It reminded
heard
me
that, but
of
that's
another
great.
time. So one time, okay, sorry, I'm going a
No,
little.
please,
this is
please.
good.
Dude,
I got a
that
lot
is
of
so-
humiliations. We were in White Plains, New York. Now this is probably
Where is that?
just north of the Bronx.
Oh,
I think.
okay, yeah.
And this was around the time that Jersey Shore had just come out. So what is that, like 2012
2010,
or 2010, something like
yeah.
that. So, and to date it a little more, I had my mom's digital camera for this trip that I took. Okay, and we're at this bar, and there's a bunch of Jersey Shore looking guys there. and I'm like, hadn't been to Chicago, or I hadn't been to New York since I was, in high school, and I was with my mom when I came. So like, this is my first time being in New York in the wild and seeing these Jersey Shore types.
White Plains, New York.
We went. My friend lived there. It's a unworthy story, but it's like this is the first time I ever saw Jersey Shore types in real life. And so we were arranging all these pictures where like my friends would get together in front of them, at the next table, and I'd take a picture of them, and of course focusing on the Jersey Shore types, and there were going to be a bunch of great fun pictures to show the folks back home, and so
Look at these Guidos.
Like you're on a safari, kind of.
Yeah, 100%, exactly like that. And like the last, and I took a couple like regular pictures just for to camouflage them in, and after the last one. Once again, it's always the biggest guy. The biggest dude comes over and he's like, let me see your camera real quick. and I'm like,
Oh, no.
and I'm like, nah. And he's like, well, what are you taking pictures of? I'm like, I'm taking pictures of my friends. He's like, let me see your camera. And I'm like, I can't give you my camera. He's like, just open it up. And I'm like, all right. And I knew in my head, I'm like, all right, the last picture I took is just me and the boys. So thank God I had the presence of mind to do that. And I show him, like, look, it's just me and my buddy Brandon Santiago. And he's like, cycle through a little bit. And I'm like, oh no. And it's like my mom's phone, or my mom's camera, is a camera, and also my own body that was going to be hurt. And so I cycled through, and there are these pictures of,
You're just
of that
zoomed
guy.
in on him?
Yep. And he did this. He said, do me a favor, delete the pictures. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, and he watched me delete every one of them, and he said, have a nice night.
Oh my God.
It was,
Wow.
he was so
Wow,
classy.
nice. Very classy.
And I've never felt so small in my entire life.
For sure.
Because I treat him like a zoo
For
animal.
sure.
He had to watch you manually delete
Oh,
every
yes.
single one.
And which was probably so much more satisfying than beating the fucking shit out of me, which he could have done.
God.
But I've never felt so much like a piece of shit.
Here's the thing about you, Bobby, is that you especially when you rock the socks hat that you have often on you.
Yeah.
You do have an intimidating vibe.
You look
from
like you
afar.
fight a lot.
So have people told you that before? Have you come? Is that how? Yeah, like you look tough. Do you know this?
I've some
Until you
people have
see
told
his
me that.
Lou Reed tattoo right there.
Fuck
and
off.
Then
but yeah. But like I have gotten that I look tough a little bit, but like it's after I went bald and started shaving my head, and also when I started doing stand-up comedy and hanging around with a bunch of fucking pansies, like people thought
you
I
are
looked
the alpha
tougher.
in the room.
Yeah,
Well,
but
and
dude,
I
I'm telling you,
my
alpha
voice
looking.
sounds a certain way.
yeah, when you
Yeah.
got that socks hat on, man.
But
you do.
but it's so funny because honestly, I don't wish, but if the kids that went to my high school could hear you say that, they'd laugh their ass off. They all thought I was
Really?
gay.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, big time.
Absolutely.
F word. Took a
I
lot
got
of F
that.
words.
Yeah.
Oh, of course you got it.
What the hell?
Oh, yeah.
What the hell?
I mean, Jeff's doctor today thought he was gay.
Oh, that was terrible.
What was that?
I went to get a physical, sit down. Doctor's never met me before. He goes, so I heard you're a gay man.
What? Heard?
I thought.
Wouldn't that be a HIPAA
the nurse
violation?
must have put in my paperwork wrong and wrote down that I was gay. He's like, I think you should get the HIV test. And I was like,
Bono.
he kept saying it. I got it. They tested me. I'm clean.
Well, I mean, you might as well get it.
You might as well get it, but he said at least 3 times, I think you should get the HIV test.
What if you were gay? And
Yeah.
he comes up, he's like, hey, I heard you're gay.
I don't think he cared. He was 65. He didn't give a
Oh my
shit.
God, that's so funny.
It was very
That is
humiliating.
interesting. Yes, like being like with a doctor who's like on their last couple of years, who just doesn't really give a
They're not
shit.
gonna fire
It's
him.
like-
Yeah.
He's at a little
yeah.
clinic in Chinatown. It's like it
Oh,
wasn't.
wow.
It was. I wasn't in the good, expensive clinic. I'll tell you that.
What were you going for?
Just
You're
for
all
a
right?
physical.
Oh,
just
a
you gotta go to a
physical.
physical
Okay.
every year and a half. Come on.
Yeah. I started doing that. I'm doing
You got
the
to.
physicals
It's
now.
stupid not to.
Yeah.
They remove a mole every year from my body. I feel like
Well,
How's
there's a couple that are
There's a-
still there.
yeah.
There's a couple they missed.
How's your health insurance?
I have it. I don't know if it's good.
Do you buy it? So you buy it
I
like
buy it through
how
the
much is it?
government. It should be $700 a month, but I get a $500 credit, so it's $200 a month.
what's the credit?
Like the government, like
Oh,
'cause
really?
I don't make a lot of
$200
money.
a month? That's pretty.
Is that
that's pretty-
good?
Yeah.
I don't know what health
I mean, like
insurance is.
in my old company, we would have and we were downsizing, so the company would only pay 50%, but we were paying per month like $350.
Oh yeah, so about the
so
same
200
type.
is good
Yeah.
if it's any good insurance.
I don't know. I have no idea.
I think you're a good guy to ask about this. This is actually something I wrote down. I wanted to ask about the comedy, like the comedian's day job scenario. We're not going to go into detail about your day job, but you've had a decent to good to you've had a very, very good day job for a long time now.
Yeah.
Right? And I feel like there's this kind of glorified comedians kind of romanticize the idea of like, I work 2 days a week and I can't afford anything else, but I'm doing this thing.
Yeah.
Do you feel like do you feel like it's a little over romanticized, the idea that like when you're starting out, like making like being kind of like a super broke comic is a little bit, I don't know.
You wrote that question down?
Well, okay.
Yeah.
That 3 paragraph long question.
I think I know.
It was one word in the notes. Sorry.
You really expanded it.
Don't you feel like that's a little the idea of the starving artist might be a little over romanticized?
Yeah. Well, okay. But I have a little bit of a different perspective on it because I think it is over romanticized for people our age.
Sure.
But like, I mean, when I met you, you were 23, right?
Yeah.
When I
that's
met you,
started.
you were 23.
Yeah.
So like at that age, I don't think it's over romanticized. I think it's really cool. And probably all of your friends are like jealous of you.
Oh,
like,
yeah, for sure.
And when I started, when I started comedy, I was 29 years old. So I already had like a career and everything. And also, you know, like the golden handcuffs. Once you make a certain amount of money, there's no going back. You know, like I can't go. I mean, Jeff, you got a great comedy career in terms of you perform all the time, but I could never make the pittance that he makes. You know, like a year, I couldn't live that way.
You couldn't live how I lived. No.
And it's like, so you do, but that's also kind of a sad thing because, you know, my job is in human resources. It's good, but it's not artistically rewarding.
Can we say what company it is, or we shouldn't?
No,
why even?
Okay.
See,
it's so funny. It's an interesting company.
It's a fashion company.
It's not necessary, and it's quite honestly stupid to do.
That's why I asked.
Yeah.
I've told you this to not talk about stuff like this on the pod, to not bring shit up.
No,
like
well,
this.
especially
didn't
because
say
I
the
work
company
in
name.
because I work in HR.
You
It's
asked
like
to say that you. Why do you
I
want
would
to
have
say the
because it's
company
interesting,
name?
but he
No,
he
it's
doesn't
not.
I think it is.
Going into like the ins and outs of your company on a public forum like this is so stupid.
Well, and I would never do that
Yeah, he
anyway.
wasn't gonna do
The company that I work for is a good company, and everyone there is great. I have nothing bad to say about it, and even if I did, I wouldn't. But it's still like because here's the thing, you know, whenever I tell people because of my persona in the way that my act is or whatever. And if they ask what I do for work, I'm like, I work in HR. They're like, what the fuck? You know, like everyone's shocked by that. So it is one of those things where my job specifically, I kind of do got to keep it separate.
You seem like the guy to start conflict, not resolve it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really fit at all.
But now, I'm the result.
nightmare.
But I'm also, let me tell you, Jeff, I'm the fucking therapist for every one of my goddamn friends. You know, and there's a lot of HRing I do, but also that's
Certainly.
because. But that's also because I'm just older too, and not to be demeaning or whatever, but it's like when you're in high school, when you're in college, and after college, you hang out with people your age.
Sure.
You know, when I started doing comedy, I hung out with people not my age.
Yeah.
And so people did kind of like, not to be whatever, but like look up to me a little bit because I just had like more life experience.
I didn't really, but that might have been the experience for
Well,
some.
I think-
And look at where you are now.
I think a
Look
lot.
how you're
Wearing
dressed.
sweatpants.
Could have used some help.
I think a lot of people. I mean, you know, I have a countless times so far, or at least a handful of times. How often do people come to you for like legitimate HR advice? Because I've done it a handful of times.
HR advice.
like corporate, like their job advice.
I wouldn't say like all the time, like I'm fielding questions all the time, but like
A decent amount. Right?
many times.
Yeah.
A whole bunch of times.
Yeah,
you know.
it's especially because comics, like who else is more like in and out of jobs? It seems
Yeah.
like.
Oh yeah. And it's like, you know, a lot of times the advice is it's like, you know, HR isn't really your friend. You know, like they're there to make sure everything's that you work in a safe and legal work environment, but they do work for the company.
Yeah, and
You know?
Is it true that everyone kind of hates HR? You always
Not in
hear
my
that.
case.
They
Okay?
like you.
Not in my
they
case.
like
have
you.
comics
okay.
been like, can you believe they fired me? And you're like, yeah.
Yeah, oftentimes. Yeah, they're usually always right. You know, the company.
You're like, I would have fired you too. You're my friend. Damn, that's really.
But we don't like HR. You're also like, I think one misnomer is it's not like we're not firing anyone. We're there in the meeting, you know, but like the manager generally makes the decision to do that.
How often do you feel, or have you ever stepped in and been like, you know, I don't think this is fireable? Have you ever had to do that?
Yeah.
Have you ever saved someone's ass?
Sure.
Can you maybe
no,
give
I couldn't. But it's like,
so that's me crossing
Yeah,
a
doing
line.
the exact same thing I just did.
but there's like
Interesting.
that would be in a case. I mean, it would be a case where
Yeah.
it's the reason is illegal, because I mean most of the states, you know, that you work in are at will employment states, so it's like they can fire you for anything they want, just
What does
so
that
long
mean?
as it's
At
not
will means what?
your employment is at will. So it's like you're not under contract.
Yeah.
So you can if I didn't like you, I could fire you. You
Oh,
know?
really?
But I just have to be. It just cannot be because you're part of a protected class, and it also can't be a disparate impact where certain protected classes are getting terminated more than others. You know what I mean? Like you have to be careful.
But you can just not like someone who's part of a
which is like
protected
they
class.
don't fit. They don't.
Yeah,
it's not a fit.
okay.
You know.
Yeah.
So somebody can just socially be awkward, even if they are hitting their numbers. If someone's just kind of like a little bit of maybe a pariah or whatever within the social constructs, like they could be like, you know, I just don't like them. Like,
legally, but it would be inadvisable, you know, because then if they went to the EEOC or whatever and said I was fired for this or wrongfully terminated, I mean, like you would have to like. Anytime you go to court, you're in trouble, you know, like, cause you're paying money for it. But it's like, I mean, technically by the letter of the law, yeah. Because if you run a hardware store, you know, and you have 14 employees, you could be like, I don't like this fucking guy. You know, I want him out of here.
Yeah.
And the government can't make you keep him.
Oh,
you know?
But if it's more of a larger company, they can get
You want to be
involved.
more careful. And a larger company is, of course, more of a target to be sued because there's more money to sue for. And you know, once you find yourself in front of a judge, you kind of already lost, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Have you had to say stuff in court? You've been dragged?
no.
Has anyone
No.
ever threatened to sue the company?
All the fucking time. I mean, like,
Yeah.
but it's like, it's oftentimes like an offhand, you know, and not at my current company, by the way.
Not.
But yeah, we should actually cut out like all this. But
No, you haven't said anything.
No,
You haven't
yeah.
said anything
But it's
bad.
like, yeah, people. A lot of times when people are terminated, they're upset and they're like, you know, you're gonna hear from my lawyer, and it's like, all right, you know, I understand, and you never do.
Bobby,
Really?
can I ask you a question that has nothing to do with this? Can you show us your hammer and sickle tattoo?
Oh God, no.
Come on. It's the
I got a
greatest
hairy
tattoo.
back.
You got to at least give us a couple tattoo stories, man.
He has a
You're
communist hammer and sickle tattoo on his back. I think
Yeah.
it's cool as hell. Some people don't like it.
I think communism, you know, even though I don't technically know what it is.
yeah,
but-
you hate what you don't know.
Even though
Yeah.
the reason you're here is like very directly related to the Stalins,
Oh,
you
true,
know,
because they probably fled Serbia or Yugoslavia because of communism.
yeah,
That's
in many ways.
interesting. Were your grandparents from Serbia? Or your
Yeah.
parents are?
My parents, my mom was born there.
They
My dad
left
was-
because of communism. That is
Well,
interesting.
and also
'Cause it
the
stinks.
the
It
big
stinks.
war going on there.
Well, they left
But it's
way
all-
before that.
Yeah.
They
Oh, did they?
Way before
in the
that.
90s. I was here. I lived. Yeah, we were here.
When did your parents leave?
My mom, like probably 67.
Oh, way
okay.
before.
Oh,
the
yeah.
good
Wow, so
years.
it is communist
Tito.
stuff.
No, they were good then.
Tito. Tito
That was the
bad,
guy in
wasn't he? Tito was
it was
bad.
no, well, it depends on who you're talking to. Yugoslavia was a good country for a while.
So I did get. I watched a Super Bowl halftime show I got very annoyed by it, and I decided then and there I was going to get a hammer and sickle tattoo.
Because you didn't like how capitalistic it was?
Listen, I
Oh
was young.
my
I was a young,
God.
stupid boy.
Man, you were gay.
How old were you?
Oh, 28. I was
You were
too old.
28?
Yeah, I was too old to make that
You were
decision.
like, there's
Oh,
too
man.
many Doritos ads. I'm getting
was-
a communist Russia tattoo.
It was fucking stupid. I was still in the afterglow of the Rage Against the Machine years.
Uh-huh.
It seemed like I feel like my older brother, kind of his friends went through this. Getting a tattoo, I don't know, Midwest suburb guy, tattoos in the aughts was kind of a thing.
Oh, it was
a
definitely. It was
like
a vibe.
my brother has 2 half sleeves. A lot of his friends are like tattoo. But it
They
was
got
just
any
like,
symbols of murderous regimes in the sleeves?
I know
I did a little reading about the Soviets afterwards, and boy, oh boy, like
You knew nothing
yikes.
about it before that?
I knew that they had a cool symbol. I
is
knew
a
that
cool symbol.
communism was all about equality, and that Rage Against the Machine.
Hypothetically,
Tom
communism is
Morello,
a great idea.
Liberty.
Yeah, I mean,
Great idea.
That's
Hypothetically, democracy is too. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that? What's this tat? Right arm.
This one. Oh, so this is a portrait of John Brown.
Oh.
And this is the word cloud splitter.
Wait,
which is-
Drago, who's John Brown?
Not sure.
He is a abolitionist and pre-Civil War. Well,
He
pre-Civil
actually
War
rips.
times.
John Brown's
Yeah,
a
he's a
great. He
badass
tried to
You were-
free the slaves.
But
yeah.
he was also a psychotic zealot.
He thought he was
you
a
know.
god figure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's cool though.
But
Not bad.
I got this tattoo, actually kind of a funny story. So like,
Because you hate racism.
fucking hate it, bro. I got a lot of idealistic tattoos
Is that
of murderous people.
How do we know Drago doesn't like racism? He doesn't have a tattoo.
Yeah,
That's
how can you
interesting.
prove it to us on your body? Yeah, listen, I'm a fucking idiot. But the guy that did this tattoo down where I went to school in Central Illinois was I walk it because he's like noted for being a great portrait artist, right?
Uh-huh.
And so I give him the picture, and he's like, "Who's this?" I'm like, "John Brown." He's like, "All right." He didn't know who it was. And as he's doing the tattoo, he has a loaded gun on his desk. Okay, he famously has a loaded gun on his desk, and he's talking about why he left Virginia Beach because there was all this reverse racism he was experiencing and blah blah blah. And he had, I don't know if you remember or if you've ever heard of this band Screwdriver, which is like a sort of skinhead white supremacist punk band.
Oh.
He had like some of their CDs and stuff, and I'm like, oh god, like this is awkward, you know. And he's like, as he's doing this tattoo, he's like, this reminds me of a portrait I did on a guy on his. It was a whole back portrait of Nathan Bedford Forrest, who you know who that is.
Founded
Started
the KKK.
Ku Klux Klan. Yeah. So I'm like, oh. Okay, you know, and he's just doing the tattoo, and I'm
Same
just like,
era.
Same
era.
same vibe in a lot of ways. And then it was this thing where he's like, he's doing this and yapping. I'm just quiet, and then he goes, "Oh, I know who this is," and doesn't say another fucking word for the rest of the thing. And I wanted him to get this part to tattoo this part under the bottom, but once he finished like the portrait part, he's like, all right, and I'm like, looks great, thanks so much, see you later, let's get the fuck out of here. And I got this part like in San Diego some other time.
It was like a bad haircut where you were just like, yeah, thanks.
Yeah,
Like,
and I mean he did a great job.
You
of
look
the
like
thing.
you would be a neo-Nazi too. He thought you were one
I
of us.
wasn't bald then though.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
think I wasn't fully bald.
Because you would have
then.
fit right in with a Nathan Bedford Forrest tattoo. That would not be wild.
Yeah, that was a scary dude, man. Loaded gun.
Do you ever,
Oh, God.
when you ever like were talking to these like younger dudes who were like, did you ever give any kind of sage advice to people who you thought might be going bald soon and they just maybe not have believed you, or are you the bald kind of?
Well, I noticed
wizard a
Dale's
little
balding,
bit?
Dale McPeak's balding pattern first.
Am I balding? Some people say I am.
Jeff, give
go like
him a
this.
little.
See, well, how old are you now?
32. He's just manhandling me.
I mean, here's the thing, dude. If you're like start balding in your 30s, you've beat the fucking game, man. Who cares?
It's cool to be bald after 35.
It's
I
never
feel like.
cool, but it's just like.
I think it's
but
cool.
you're like receding. You'll get like this thing, like the Letterman thing, which is fine.
Yeah,
you know, like
You just
I
need
had
a
it where it
little
was like
bit.
falling out in the middle in my 20s. You know, like
was that traumatic?
yeah. Yeah, it's fucking traumatic. Like really.
Because you had a good head of hair. I've seen pictures of
very
it.
thick
You
hair.
were a good-looking
Yeah.
guy, and
Well,
then
yeah.
it all
What
kinda...
are the and it happened quick, right?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you this. I went to I used to cut my own hair in college, and one time my mom, right before graduation, my mom's like, go get an actual haircut. All right. And so I'm like, fine. So I went to like a, salon or whatever. And you never know what to say. So there's like a poser. I'm like, that one, please.
Yeah.
And she sits down, she's cutting my hair. And I'm not going to do the accent because it would sound bad.
Well,
but
you've done accents in the past, so feel free to do it if you want.
I'm not going to do it.
Jeff will do it for you.
In a very distinct accent.
What? Just
She
to
said-
give us which ethnicity.
It was an Asian
Okay,
accent.
that's just for the people
She
in their heads.
yelled, "You're too bald for this haircut." Okay, and it's like I'm like, and I mean like at that I was certainly balding, but that was unnecessary.
In front of everyone.
Yeah, and
God,
I'm like,
Bobby.
do your best, and never set foot in a fucking salon ever again.
You've done your own hair since?
Yeah.
You've been like a self clippers guy. For,
Self clippers and my ex fiance she would cut my hair too for a while, and then once we broke up, I would just shave it.
buzz
how
it,
many
right.
months or how long do you have to be dating a girl before she gets barbershop duties?
She's the only one. Like she offered to do it. Like
Okay.
Yeah.
I imagine it gets to a point where a girl will be like, yeah, I'll just cut it,
Yeah, and I don't even think it needs to be that far in. I mean, that could be a nice intimate
That
little
could be-
thing.
You're thinking 6 weeks you can cut your hair?
Sure.
Oh,
if
yeah,
she wants to
come
do it,
on.
yeah.
All right. You guys are crazy, but
Women
I think
shave.
it's-
They shave the back of my neck
Oh,
pretty
yeah,
early on,
yeah.
or the little treasure trail down here on the
You
back.
have her shave that?
The lower back, you can't really
Oh,
get
my
it.
God. Well, just
That little
don't get
pat.
it.
No,
Leave
it's
it there.
disgusting. It's like a little circle of hair.
I've got a little circle.
I mean,
here.
Bobby's got a lot. You have that makes sense. Mine's just out of nowhere. It's just
Yeah,
in
I
the middle
get
of
that.
nowhere.
Well, you get this thing too.
I mean, you've got
Oh my!
Yeah,
Oy
yeah, mine's
vey.
real hairy.
The neck hair. Okay.
you've got a rug back there.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
You are a hairy
I
man.
had hairier back than my dad. That's like ultimate failure.
You've got that kind of hair where when you drink a lot, next day you stink, huh? I bet you smell a little.
God, you know what?
Jesus.
That very well could. Here's the thing.
I
like,
bet
look at this.
I know Jeff does
Look how
for
thick-
sure.
look
I
how
mean,
thick
John
the
Brown
shoulder
is
hairs
covered in
That's-
hair.
Yeah, is that
Are you
crazy?
ever think that's like a
Irish, dude?
slight-
Are you Irish?
Yeah.
Yeah, my best friend's Irish, and you guys are smelling,
Yeah,
man. No
it's-
offense.
I'm not smelly.
Yeah, where's
Yeah,
the smell coming from?
But it's just not your fault. It's just
I've never
You guys are
noticed-
genocidal murderers. Okay, we're smelly. Your ancestors murdered people.
Tit for tat.
People would say it
come
was an
on.
ongoing war. That's what my dad said.
I bet he did. I wonder what he'd say to a Croatian if he ran into one.
Hey, do you snore?
Yeah.
How
What
bad?
the fuck?
What's that have to do? Are we just going down his list of faults? What the hell? I heard you.
I'm sorry.
I think I snore pretty bad.
I heard-
Well, like,
Really?
what is this? What are you driving at here? That I'm not a good catch. I'm hairy. I smell and I snore.
I don't mean it. I don't
I heard
mean
you
any-
I'm also
Smell.
emotionally unavailable.
No, but I don't know. Yeah, the hair. When I see the hair, I just think about
This is a snoring ass body. Yeah, I get
What
it.
does hair have to do with snoring?
It's just a
It's
general.
nothing.
I could just
It's a general
stereotype.
manly.
You are a
It's wrong.
snory, maybe smelly guy
I'm
after
not.
drinking.
I'm really not smelly. I don't think
Okay.
I'm smelly. I haven't worn deodorant in 2 months.
What the fuck? And yet nothing?
No,
Yeah, I have to wear deodorant 3 times a day.
you
Are
don't.
you
You
that
don't
way?
live in Bushwick, dude. What are you doing? You know.
No.
That's a shot at Bushwick.
Oh yeah, Bushwick.
He
is dirty
hates
as fuck.
Bushwick,
I hate
even though he
Bushwick
lives.
too.
What? It's great.
Why don't you
Shut
wear
up.
deodorant? Why not
You know,
deodorant?
honestly, I ran out one day and then I forgot to get some more and I'm like, shit, and I'm smelling. I'm like, because I don't sweat very much.
Really?
Oh, okay.
So I'll have a very small odor that I have to like go like this, but it doesn't. I'm lucky in the sense
That is amazing. On it,
Yeah.
you work out and you don't put on deodorant.
Well, I don't work out.
Well, you kind of look like you might lift.
thanks,
you look
man.
like you
No,
might
no.
lift.
Yeah, what's your diet like? You look good for a
47-year-old man.
My-
You look
for a
amazing.
71-year-old.
Yeah, how old are you?
My 39.
Did you vote for Dukakis? Who did you vote for?
I voted
In 88.
twice
When
for
was your-
president.
Oh, really?
Yep, and
Drago's
not
never
on the
voted.
important ones
I don't-
either.
Never voted. I love it.
I'm not necessarily sure you have to.
I actually am out on voting.
Dude,
I've
I really
decided I'm out.
Of course you should vote, but people that are so fucking priggish about voting
The
are
people
the
who get
most
the
annoying
sticker and
people in
post the
world.
sticker.
Yeah.
Do it in silence.
It's
Do
like,
it in
dude,
silence.
And I went in. You know what? I was drunk.
Did you vote for a third party too?
I did. I did both times.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
But
Which
like,
one, Ralph?
Ralph and what was Bernie wasn't Bernie the first time.
Was
okay.
Nader was a seatbelt?
Green. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great Ralph Nader rocks.
But
Great
Ralph
guy.
Nader's awesome. But like I went. So this most recent during the
2020.
But no, not presidential.
Oh, the midterms.
The midterms. Thank you. I was like, shit, because the voting facility is right behind my house. You know, I don't have a good excuse, and I didn't do it. And I was walking with Lael and Sai somewhere, and there was some guy standing outside, kind of like polstering or whatever, and it was like there was no line, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go in and just do it. Like
You were drunk.
I was drunk.
There we go.
And I walk in, and I'm like, where do I go? And the lady directs me to the gym. I walk in there. I'm like, I show my ID, and she's like, oh, you're not in the registry. I'm like, oh. She's like, where do you live? And I told her where I live, and she's like, oh, no, you got to vote somewhere else. And I'm like, fuck you. I'm like, all right. I'm like, all right, never again. Make this fucking easier.
Why do you have to
Like,
vote in a certain space?
Yeah,
It
it's
doesn't
so
make...
stupid. Like,
It's
give me a
absurd.
fucking
You
break.
should really just have to show your ID and then
shouldn't
You should
have to
pull it out on
register.
your fucking phone. You should be able to vote on your phone.
I've
You
been-
can
They make
vote
it so
for any
difficult.
American Idol on your phone.
Yeah.
Come on.
I've been saying you should be able to do it like you swipe on Hinge, like who you
Yeah.
like, who you
One of your
don't
better
like.
ideas, actually. It's a good idea.
That's a great
It's
idea.
good
And that's the way it should be. You know, like, and it's like,
You got to poke a little Chad out of a Scantron
Well,
to pick the president.
dude,
It's insane.
I wanted to do I kind of did a bit on this, but not this aspect of it. But I remember the last time I voted in Chicago, when it's like, you know, you have to vote for all this other stuff, and
yeah.
and you know nothing about it. And I was like, so I'm going through these names. I have literally no criteria because a lot of times it's two Democrats. You know, I mean, I voted Democrat ticket.
Sure,
you know,
sure.
and so it's like, well, I'll pick the most Irish looking name because I'm Irish and that name looks like mine. And so I did that. And as I walked out, I'm like, I voted a racist ticket, didn't I? Like I literally voted based on race and ethnicity is what I unwittingly did.
Shanika Brown or Patrick O'Houlihan? Who's he gonna pick? Huh, interesting.
And it's like, and there's no excuse either because it was literally, these people are the most like me. I'm picking
my
them,
God.
you know?
But I mean, it's not. It
It was
didn't
just an
matter,
absence
probably.
of any criteria.
But why are we voting for the county coroner
Oh,
and all
God.
that
Well,
stuff?
that's my
Don't you
bit.
have a bit
Yep,
about that?
yep,
I
I got
thought
a
you
bit about
did. A
county
very
coroner.
funny
Yep.
joke, might add.
Thank you.
Bobby is a funny comic. You hate to say it, but Bobby's really cracks my ass
Everyone
up.
always says, you know, that's the thing that comes up at work a lot too, and among all my friend groups also, where that people preface this. I hate to agree with Bobby here, and then they agree with my ass. I get that all the fucking
I hate
time.
to say he's good at the thing he's pursuing in life, but he is, unfortunately.
You probably catch that a lot too.
Oh,
People
yeah.
begrudgingly compliment your
people
ass.
from high
Yeah.
school. Yeah, absolutely.
What was your high school situation like? We know what yours was like.
I was the cool nerd, kind of.
Were you cool?
Shut
I was
the
like,
fuck
I wasn't
up,
getting
dude.
I wasn't getting bullied and stuff. I wasn't.
The cool nerd.
I was like funny. I was very
Yeah,
funny.
okay.
That's
I
the
was the
least
class
cool
clown.
thing you could have
Being
said.
funny is cool.
Being funny is
I was
is
very
all important.
funny in high school.
In a way, people felt bad, but it's true.
The hot girls didn't really like to be around me because I was kind of weird.
Not a
I
ton
would
of-
say
not
You
a-
don't
that.
think they didn't like to be around you?
I think they found me ugly and cloying.
Oh, okay.
Clinging.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
You were clinging?
I was like very like,
Well,
oh
you
my
have that
God,
whole
please
thing-
let me do your homework. Yeah. I was like, I'll do your math homework, Alex.
Well, and you have
Come
the whole
on.
best friends.
Yeah, I had that
scenario,
girl
which
who
I
made
had that too.
a girl made a poster of us being soulmates, even though we were just best friends.
That-
Jeff used to be a prop comic.
Used to do
Yeah.
prop. I actually should bring that joke
was
back.
a great bit. I
quite
mean, it's a
funny.
great
It was
bit.
quite.
Yeah.
She sunned you. Who was this girl? Who sunned you?
This girl, Casey, I was absolutely in love with her, and we ended up dating for a little
Oh,
while.
you got to date your girl.
Yeah,
I never
well, I
really
got
did.
to date mine. I used to for a while there, and at the height of South Park's popularity, I puked every time I saw her. For real, like that. I missed a
Just
lot
like
of
the
school
movie,
and shit.
right?
Are you
That was the movie.
serious?
Yeah.
Swear to God. And I asked her out on homecoming.
How
I asked
old
her-
were you?
Wait, what do you mean puked?
I
What do you mean
was,
puked?
Vomited.
Like when you saw her or spoke to
Like in
her?
the hall?
So, okay, so there was not in the halls, but there was a minute where
Yo,
what happened was here's what
come on.
happened. All right, I'll give you a brief rundown here. I went out to dinner with her entire family. I got clams. I had to go into the bathroom and vomit. All right, and I don't know if
you
it was
were
the
so
clams or whatever,
scared?
but I was nervous because I was going to ask her to homecoming after. All right,
With her family around?
after it was going to be after. Her dad comes into the bathroom. He's like, "How you doing? Are you all right?" I'm like, "I feel like $1 million," you know. But I was sick, and then the next morning she would pick me up for school every day. Next morning she came to pick me up from school. As soon as her car pulled up in the parking lot, I ran into the bathroom and puked. My mom goes out and says he can't come to school today. We're supposed to go to the football game after school. She comes to pick me up for the football game. Run to the bathroom, puke. Can't go to the football game. Same thing happens for school the next day,
Are you
and for a
serious?
couple a while after. Okay.
Oh my
And so
god!
I went and saw my school counselor. I told him calculus is really hard, you know, and like I dropped calculus because I couldn't.
Because she was in calculus?
No.
Oh.
Because I couldn't admit that it was this girl that made me feel this way. It would be
You're just
so
like, you'd rather say
lame.
I'm retarded than that
Well,
I'm awkward
calculus
around
was
women.
very hard.
Did this
Calculus is hard.
this like first kind of like introduction to women? Did that like shape any of your relationships?
Yes, I'm
going-
completely dysfunctional. and so, but okay, so the coda to this story, I finally one day I go over to a house, we're hanging out, and I'm gonna ask her to homecoming finally, and I start to do it. I have to run up stairs and puke,
Oh my god!
and I come down and I
Does
ask
she
her to
know you're
homecoming.
puking?
Yeah. I come down, I ask her to homecoming. She says yes. That day, September 11th, 2001. Best day of my life. But it was a fun, it was like, I
You
was like
can
totally
say
fucked
that.
up.
Wait, you guys were still hanging out that night as if nothing had
'cause it's like,
happened?
well, sooner or later, your stomach's empty. You know, then we can hang.
No, I
it
mean,
was-
you weren't processing September 11th? You were just
Dude,
like, let's
honestly,
just
September
hang
11th.
out.
I remember September 11th. Like, first of all, I came in. I was in the library in the morning, and one of the librarians like, Bobby, go on Yahoo. A plane hit the World Trade Center, and I looked it up, and I'm like, oh wow, it did. And then we went up. My first period was economics class, and the teacher, Mr. Angelica, has the TV on with what's going on in there. We watched like 10 minutes of that, and he's like, all right, enough. We're going to class, you know.
Holy shit!
And so we had class, and I remember like at later that afternoon or the next day in school, they had us do this thing where we all stood in the hallway and held hands. You know, like in
Weird
solidarity,
patriotic thing,
some
yeah.
weird fucking shit. And I remember the girl next to me, Jackie, looked at me like in these big puppy dog eyes, and she's like, "Are you scared?" And I'm like, no. Honestly, the hugeness of the thing. First of all, it's not that huge, but the hugeness of
Oh
the
my
thing.
God.
It's 3,000 people. We bring war to other countries all the time.
Bobby is not wrong. I
this-
like how
this-
callously
this-
you say it. I like it.
I mean, of course, it's huge for the people that were. It changed the world. It changed the world unnecessarily. But it's like,
Bobby bringing truth to
it's
the
3,000
pod.
people. Who fucking cares?
Do you not like? Do you think the airport security doesn't need to be as strict?
Absolutely not.
Well, they don't.
crazy.
They don't
Dude,
do well.
You're
They don't.
crazy.
They actually don't
Bro.
catch anything.
Build me
TSA
a,
They
build
catch
me a
up all the,
suitcase
they
bomb.
do. They,
No, they don't.
They
Build
do
me a
catch
suitcase
stuff,
bomb.
and they-
I will walk into Union Station and beat September 11th tomorrow. If you want to kill a lot of people,
We might
you
have to
can
cut
fucking
that.
do
We
it.
might have to cut that.
God.
Well, they've
Okay.
actually done studies that TSA doesn't catch like 70% of things.
Well, and
It's like
70%.
real. It's like
My-
really bad.
My
and they
friend-
Mostly
focus
for,
on
like-
one thing. Like it's like you can't prevent those things totally. I mean,
Yeah, you can't prevent like 5 guys from hijacking a plane.
yeah. And
They didn't have bombs. They just had
box cutters.
box cutters.
Yeah.
They could have easily. You could get I get stuff through air security all the time.
well, and also you.
It was just box
Hey, here's an
cutters?
idea.
All they had was box
Here's an
cutters.
idea.
That's what they
for
were-
the
that's what they
Islamic
were-
terrorists.
Yeah.
What?
Just get 14
There wasn't a
really
gun?
big guys. Get 14 really big guys. You could do it again.
There wasn't a
Like you
there
don't
was-
even need a fucking box
There
cutter.
wasn't a
Thank
gun
God
on
this
the
is
plane?
Are you serious? No,
I
they just
didn't
had
know
box
this story.
cutters. They didn't have a gun or
Well,
anything.
they had a fake bomb.
They had a fake
They constructed
suicide
a fake-
vest.
So
yeah.
there was a guy that was like this. But haven't you ever seen United 93?
do you need to see the?
Oh, you should watch it.
I would
man.
never want to watch that. I have no interest
You
in
never
that.
seen it either? It's really moving. Like
I don't-
it's really good.
Is that the
I'm being very
Pennsylvania
callous.
flight?
But
Yes.
yeah, isn't
Yeah,
it the
yeah.
flight that got shot down?
It
It didn't get shot.
It got shot down,
But
bro.
there is a-
We shot it down.
No.
That's a fact.
You watched that one
No.
documentary called Loose Change or whatever.
I've seen
But
a
here's
few.
the thing. Here's
that
the
shit
thing.
got shot
No,
down.
it
Here's the
didn't.
thing.
Yes,
if
it did.
If it
Protocol.
did get shot
It's
down,
protocol.
if it
It
didn't
died.
it did not get shot down.
There-
And if
it
it
was
did
in
get shot down,
pieces.
fine.
Because it crashed. Why would it not be?
Yeah, what do you
Nielsen?
think? It's gonna- you
No, but across like a mile. Across a mile.
Yeah,
They-
I don't know physics. I can't really argue against that, honestly.
How?
This is one of
First
those-
of all, if it did get shot down, how shitty would it be to be like if you're in the plane and you see like an American like Air Force like plane, you're like, oh my god, we're gonna get saved.
Yeah. Like, oh wait.
and then a missile peels off.
and then they just
Dude, there's a moment in that you really should watch United 93. It's
I already
really
have enough
incredible.
anxiety on
But
flights, dude.
there's
Flying
a
is so
there's
hard
a
for
moment in the movie where they've like decided they're going to try and overpower these guys. And as they go at the dude, because they're thinking, I'm going to overpower him. He's got the bomb. He's just going to blow us up, whatever, you know? And they're like, and as they're like pummeling this guy, they're like, it's a fake. It's a fake. And like, as the knowledge goes through the plane that it's like, dude, I'm giving myself the fucking shivers thinking about it right now. That movie is so fucking
I
good.
would never watch
Wait,
that.
what do you mean? As they what?
Like,
They learned
it's-
that they're not in danger.
It's
They
such a-
thought
it's-
they were.
No, they're still because they still have to. The guys have I shouldn't call them pilots. Terrorists have taken over the cockpit, so they're in trouble.
Why does the plane crash again?
Because they bash their way into the cockpit, and while they're wrestling for control, the terrorist pilot, just rams it into the
Oh,
ground.
right.
Sounds a little
but it
fishy.
got
Or it gets shut down.
Sounds a little
so-
fishy.
The other conspiracy, it landed in Cleveland safely. That is a conspiracy as
Really?
well. Yeah, I thought you told me about that. I looked it up.
Yeah.
That's
You don't
right.
think that
I don't think
do you
that's
think
real.
like Bush did the 9/11 and stuff?
I'm open to anything.
Oh my god,
I
that
don't-
is the dumbest shit.
It's so stupid. It's
Oh,
so
I'm
dumb.
I'm open to anything though. I am open to
I
anything.
think they knew it was going to happen and used it to their advantage.
Okay, how about
I
that?
think
Okay,
I
how
don't
that-
think they
okay.
knew it was going to happen.
I think they
Do you
knew.
believe? Okay, do you believe that we killed Epstein, or do you think Epstein killed himself?
Clearly killed him. Or we killed him. Yeah, the government killed him. Yeah.
Honestly,
Right. So are
But
we
they're not
above?
the same type of conspiracies. That has way more evidence.
well,
than
and also
9/11.
you people, you
I think.
children
What with the shooting down?
require a better story than exists. Epstein very well may have killed himself. Honestly, I don't have an opinion one way or the other about that. But I know that George W. Bush and Dick Cheney did not arrange. We're already the most powerful country in the world. We're already rich. They're not going to murder 3,000 people.
It makes no sense.
It's so dumb.
And they couldn't keep that secret. There's no
Nobody
way.
could keep a secret. It's like
There's no
how many
way.
people would have to keep a secret and for what? So they can pass their laws and get slightly richer. I mean, people are greedy and people are awful, but they're not going to murder 3,000 people.
There would be better ways to start a war in Iraq than
Yeah.
to knock over the World Trade Centers.
Yeah, Gulf of Tonkin Bay. Come
Yeah, they-
on,
yeah,
that
they
was
did that.
that was done
They-
at very low cost.
They did. That was Vietnam.
You know,
They did Vietnam. Yeah, that's how
Yeah.
they started.
I don't know much about the Tonkin Tonka
We
truck.
It's a boring story.
We faked that the North Vietnamese attacked us so we could attack them.
Which is also how
We faked
Hitler
it.
started World War II. I mean, like, it's a
It's how
timeless-
Russia started Ukraine war. They
Yeah.
did-
Well, what was the? What
They
was
claimed Ukraine did something. I can't remember.
well, they
exactly
said that
what
there's
it-
Nazis there.
Well, yeah, they claimed. Yeah, it's all fake.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we do got to wrap up.
We
What
gotta
the
wrap.
hell?
We gotta wrap up. Oh shit, we do. Wait, can Bobby tell his scallop story?
Oh no, I'm not telling that
I
story.
can't
it's
believe
so
you're
funny.
a throw up
It
around
does-
the girlfriend.
Well,
guy.
not anymore.
That's hilarious.
I got-
Dude,
I'll
that's
tell-
unreal.
This-
Did you end up dating this girl and
Yeah,
having
we did.
sex?
We dated twice.
Oh, you
Yeah.
dated. Oh, you went on 2 dates.
No. We
Oh, you
we
dated for 2 periods.
times.
Oh,
Yeah. Wow.
okay. Oh, good.
And then my best friend married her sister, and I worked for her husband at my last job.
Oh,
wow.
cool.
So we stayed. I mean,
you
know,
still know her?
So
Oh, yeah.
you saw her at the
Yeah.
Christmas party.
I saw her at.
Oh no, you see her. Yeah.
I see her every once in a while.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Bobby,
We're cool.
what's your album? It's out. It's a very
Oh,
funny album. Great
Thanks,
album.
Jeff. Well, it's called Greatest Hits. I don't think they took it off Spotify. So
yeah,
it's
they
on,
took them all off.
It's on Apple Music, and I'm going to release the video on YouTube.
Are you finally releasing it?
Yeah, I got it. Mike Brabinsko edited it for me.
Oh,
I
yeah,
just have
good.
to gain the courage to release it on YouTube. It's like I just feel like such a nerd.
No.
Like, watch my recording.
Oh, there's
You
nothing
know.
wrong with trying.
Yeah,
it's good.
I know. So I'm
Greatest
gonna release
Hits
that
is
soon.
so funny.
Great,
Thanks.
great
Bobby
album
Condon,
title.
Greatest
Great album
Hits.
title.
Very funny.
And a very, very good album.
Very good. Bobby Condon, social media. What do you don't really you do Instagram. You're on Instagram.
And I've gone viral
oh, yeah,
on Twitter twice.
That's right. I'm not on Twitter. I forgot about that.
Bobby's
Oh, yeah, that's
Twitter's
right.
so funny.
My
Yeah,
Twitter
he's
is
good on Twitter.
at Bobby_Condon, and Instagram I think is just at Bobby.Condon.
Your anger on Twitter is
what
very
did
funny.
you tweet recently where you're just like, you're like, people who drink Sprite.
How could
Why?
you drink Sprite? And I stand by that, and people got pissed.
That was it. It was just, how could you drink Sprite?
Sprite is disgusting.
It is
7-Up's
terrible.
better.
7-Up is better. Slice is better. Squirt's better. Ginger
Yeah.
ale is better. There's
Ginger ale is
there's
better.
no reason to drink that drink.
You're not
So funny,
Oh,
dude.
thank
Ooh,
God
thank
it
God
was
it's
empty.
empty.
Knocked over
Cool.
the beer. Okay.
Very good.
This has
Bobby.
been a Patreon episode. We don't number them anymore because Alex gets mad about it. Drago, will you do the sign off?
Oh yeah, this will come out.
That's the sign off.
Jesus.
Oh no, this will come out on Friday for the Patreon listener.
Have you ever been on the podcast before? What is going on?
What's
No,
the sign off?
actually, no, it's not. Sorry, my bad. I'm really
This
fumbling.
is AD
this.
Drago saying
You
thanks
do
for
the
tuning
sign.
in.
You do the sign
Oh
off.
my
You do the
God!
sign off.
It's coming out next week because we're doing
Oh,
2 this
yeah.
week. Yeah.
Dude, I wasn't. I
Do you have anything to
couldn't improv.
plug
Okay.
this
I
weekend,
couldn't-
Drago? Anything happening in your life?
I have nothing. This
I actually
weekend.
don't have anything either, so I shouldn't have brought it up. But this weekend, just be glad we're still alive, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for.
Thank God for the TSA.
Thank God for TSA. I'm gonna. That's so funny. They're so incompetent. They do like absolutely nothing.
they're
It's
assholes.
They're complete idiots. Thank you for subscribing to the Patreon. We love and respect you. Thank you and good night. Bye.
Bye.